you've been waiting for my video to talk about that new road glide I rode there in Daytona. You know, we rode almost 185 miles in that in one day. We're going to talk about some of the things that I liked, and then we're going to talk about some of the things I don't like about the bike. Okay, so are you ready for it? Some of the things that I liked about the bike was, one, they've lightened this bike up. I could not believe the difference in just, I think it's 18 pounds or something, or 20 pounds, somewhere in that range. That little bit would make such a big difference in handling the bike. The second thing is, since they've lowered the weight down more lower to the road, the balance on the bike was unreal. With both of us on the bike, we pulled up to a stop sign, and I could not believe, it probably was a second or 2 seconds that I didn't even put my feet to the ground. We were able to balance it that easy with two people on the bike. So that was something that I really was impressed with right away when we first pulled out on it. One of the things Tam didn't like about it was it didn't have a backrest on it. So she only rode with me for a very short time. If you watch the videos, a couple weeks ago in Daytona, maybe I'll put a few clips up there of us riding on the bike while I'm talking on it. So I really liked the computerized dashboard that they had on it. The one I rode had the 117 engine in it, and it seemed to have some pretty good pep in it. I don't know if I like the modes that you can switch through or not. I'm not really going to switch a lot of modes either way. But I mean, some of the people I've talked to said that it could give you better gas mileage. If you're traveling on a long trip, you could put it on there, not using the performance mode, or I don't know what they even call it, 3-1 rain, performance, city riding, I don't know what it all is, but I didn't really switch any of the modes. I left it like it was. One of the issues I had was you couldn't really hear the exhaust, to hear it to shift. Normally you're used to hearing the pipes on it to where you can hear it to shift. I had to actually look at the tach off and on, because sometimes I was up quite a bit of RPMs before I shifted it. Now, we didn't really get out on any high-speed roads. I think I got it up to probably about 60 or 65 miles an hour. It did handle good in the turns, things like that. I really like that part. I really like the new dashboard that they put on. I like all that great information there. It takes a little while to get used to it. The turn signals were a little different. A couple times I was hitting something else, and I wasn't even turning the turn signal on. So, they've kind of moved the controls around and stuff. But let me tell you some of the things I didn't like about the bike. One of the things is the windshield on these bikes. That was one of the issues I had. But here's what Harley Davidson told me is the reason they put these windshields on the bike is because they look good. If we put a big old windshield like that, it wouldn't look as stylish. So, I think there's 3 different options you could get now for windshields on it. So you could change that out. The other thing was the seat. The seat was really wasn't very comfortable. It didn't take long for my butt started hurting a little bit riding on it. That was one of the issues that I had. The other issue was that with that shorter windshield, with my helmet on, I only wear a 3/4 helmet, and it kind of hit me right across the eyes with the wind. I couldn't hear the radio. Once I got up over about 45 miles an hour, the 2 speakers in the front just weren't adequate, which I'm not sure if they put a bigger windshield on it, I don't have the wind pushing the sound back, that would make if it would make a difference or not. But the radios now, they will work on iPod. They do have a subscription that you can buy. I think the first year you get it for free, and you can buy it after that. But all that really does is give you updates. I was talking to them about that, and they said with the mapping, it's going to be there forever. And if you have an iPhone, that'll hook up to it, and you can use that too for your mapping. Now you have to go out and buy a CarPlay if you want to change it over to use an Android phone to use it to that setup. Now I didn't really use a lot because I know in some of the issues they said you have to use the headphones and things like that with the jacks. Like I say, I didn't have my headphones in my helmet speakers or anything like that, so I didn't use any of that type of features. The maps I used a little bit, but not much, because like I say, I was still getting used to riding on the bike. I was more concerned with riding the bike and seeing how it performs and all that kind of good stuff. So adding to the windshield, I was talking earlier about the shifting, and it could be very well possible because of that air hitting me, it kept all the noise behind me. It did sound like the motor was a little noisier than newer models previously. I haven't rode a whole lot of the M8s, so I'm not real familiar with how they sound and how they run, but I did hear a little bit of noise, just like my bike. I've had all that noise last year, so I'm kind of eerie about listening to that. But I mean, more or less when I was at slower speeds, I didn't hear anything at a higher speed. After I got done talking to Harley Davidson, after I was riding it, they asked me, what you like and what you didn't. I said, well, for them, I went ahead and told them first off the bat what I didn't like. I didn't like the windshield. It sucked. I didn't like the seat. And that's what they kind of said was that's the 2 things that most people change right away. They change the windshield out and they change the seat. The reason they don't put them on the bike is because they look prettier. The windshield looks better. The seat, I don't know. They really didn't have an excuse for that. I kind of said something about the radio. They didn't really have a response to the radio. Like I said, I'd have to ride one with a taller windshield. We had time. I didn't have time. They offered me to ride the Street Glide. My CVO is the Street Glide style. So I'm already kind of used to that ride, and that's what I've had most of the bikes I've had. For Road Glide, it rode pretty good. I didn't have any trouble. You know, some people say they have different because the fairing is stationary or none. I didn't see any difference. I didn't feel any difference. Now, we didn't get out on any really windy roads. When we go out to Sturgis, I'm wanting to try to do it again. And we're going to have to try to see if we can go through the dealership, because I'd really like to get the bike way before Sturgis starts, to where I could take both of them out and really do a nice ride out in the hills there and see how they both perform. So far, I'm very impressed with the bike itself. I really like that the key points are that they lightened up the bike, they lowered the weight distribution to where it's now lower, to where I could definitely feel that right away. Performance-wise, it was pretty quick. Got up and scooted pretty good for, with a 117 engine on it, so that was pretty nice. I love the digital gauges. I like all that new digital stuff. It's kind of like the Dakota gauges that I got on my bike. This even tells you more than that. Tire pressure, all the different stuff that's in here. I mean, you almost have to spend a day just learning all the things you need to know just to operate, to see all the gauges and all the different features that it has. So that's kind of nice too. Will I get one? At this moment, not looking at one, but who knows about the future. So with that, if you're thinking about buying one, I'm okay with that. I'd recommend buying a new Harley. The Road Glide, like I say, was a great bike. Like I say, I definitely changed the windshield. I think there's already I believe Clockworks has already come out with their first windshield, and probably by the time Sturgis comes, they'll probably have a whole selection of windshields for it. The new feature of the lights are brighter on the front and stuff. The fairing design now has changed a little bit. The boxes now in the back are bigger than they were before. I'm not with the exact bike that I rode with, because this is after the fact, and with Daytona going on, I really didn't have a lot of time to sit down and talk about the bike. We were going to put the green screen up and put a bike behind us, and we thought, we're going to go over here to Gator Harley Davidson, and they're going to let us play with the bikes a little bit here. So one of the other things that I noticed that they've done with the newer bikes now is they've made the boxes a lot bigger now. So you got more storage inside here than you had before. It's a little bit more wider. So that's one of the nice things that I liked about it for storage-wise. We're going to leave you right here at Burt's Barracuda. We started over there in Leesburg at the beginning of the video, but we're going to end up the ending here. So, overall, I'm pretty happy with the Road Glide, but we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully when I get to Sturgis, I'll have a little bit more time to take them out and do a little more punishment out there on the curves to see how they perform and all that. So with that, we're going to leave you right here at Burt's Barracuda, because we're actually right now in Port Charlotte for the next couple weeks. Yep. So if you're in the area, let us know. Come down here and put in the comments, hey, I live here. Check us out. So there you go. There's your part.
So thanks for hanging out with us today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Tell us what you think if you've got one of those new bikes. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Share us with your family and friends. Give us a big thumbs up. Ring that bell for notifications, and we'll see you on the next video.
There you go. More coming.